Once again, another game for the Mariners where their starter goes 6, 7, whatever it is, shutout innings, and they come out of it with a loss. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners dropped this one tonight 3-2 to the Rays. They fall to 67 and 66 on the year. Houston does lose, so the Mariners will remain 3.5 back in the American League West. Before I go any further into it, hit that like button. You guys know how much it helps out. Comment your thoughts down below. I'm just a handful of subscribers away from 4,100. So go and hit that subscribe button if you are new or lurking. Very frustrating game. Felt like a winnable game for the Mariners here. And again, just, the same old, right? This has been the MO all year. Great pitching, terrible hitting. Goldie talked about in the broadcast, Haniger had that single in the ninth inning. That was only the second hard hit ball the Mariners had all night. They had the Robles line out earlier in the game, and then Haniger's. And Haniger's was a ground ball seeing eye single, so it's not like that was even anything special necessarily either. Just super frustrating all around. And again, we've talked about how many times have I said it on these recaps with the starting pitching. Logan Gilbert tonight, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no earned, no walks, 10 Ks. I mean, you cannot lose games where you have a start like that. You just can't do it. I mean, this team's got to be, I don't even know how to research this, but man, they've got to have like the most losses of teams that have had their starters throw shutouts. Or at least, I guess shutout would be a complete game, shutout 9 innings, but you guys know what I mean. This has got to be close to a record because it's just awful the amount of times this team has done it this year. And, Houston lost it. This was a chance to get 2.5 games back. You're 2.5 games back, it's game on, right? One, you have a little wiggle room because here's the thing. You are going to lose ground at some point too. There's going to be a game that Houston wins and you lose again. So it's not like you're just cutting into it and they're never going to go a game up on you again. But if you get it to 1-2, you can stomach if that happens. Okay, we're back to 3. That's okay. Now that happens, you go back to 4-5. So golden opportunity for the Mariners to win tonight, to get to 2.5 back, and they blew it. Now listen, win tomorrow, win a series. The goal is to win series, and a 4-2 homestand is a good thing, and would certainly get this team on the right track going on their next road trip. But eventually, you've got to string together a bunch of wins. You've put yourself in a position where if the Mariners were 5 games up in the division, I could just kind of sit here and go with, hey, win the series tomorrow. This game wouldn't bother me that much. They happen. But the Mariners aren't in position to let these games happen. They have to take advantage. They have no one to blame but themselves. They put themselves there. A game like tonight is also where, I hope you guys understand, while I think it was time to move on from Scott, that it wasn't all on Scott, right? They lost a lot of these games with him in there. The players have to be better. They've got to play better. Now, in the offseason, we'll certainly have discussions about what players need to stay here and what players need to go. But for right now, the players have got to be better, right? Even that at-bat in the ninth inning with Luke Raley, that first pitch looked pretty hittable. The one he turned on that was foul, if that's a little bit more inside, I think that ball's gone and the Mariners win this game. Julio, it's been atrocious. He's been awful. One for his last 26 or 27, missing hittable pitches, swinging and missing at pitches that aren't even close to the strike zone. And I get him being in there, right? Like, you don't have a lot behind him. You've got Dom Canzone on the bench. You could put Dylan Moore in the outfield. You don't have a lot of minor league depth or prospects that are ready to come up and play that position. And I could just simplify this and say, if Julio's not going to get hot, it's not going to matter because they need another Julio hot streak. They need it, like what they had before he got hurt, where he was kind of dialed in and starting to hit the long ball and everything. But that's a big reason. He had a big at-bat tonight in the 8th inning with runners at first and second and 1 out. And I thought the pitch that he flew out on was pretty hittable to drive the other way. It's a pitch we've seen Julio take out of the yard and didn't do it. So, very, very disappointing performance from Julio. And it's just, and it's everybody. It's not just Julio for sure. But, that's one of the biggest, right? Like, you got to have your players that you're expecting to be the superstars and, have been really good players to keep that up. And, Julio's had a disappointing season, and it's one of the big reasons why this team is where they're at. Now, again, there's plenty of others, just like it wasn't all on Scott. It's not all on Julio. It's been a collective effort. But he's got to be better. It's got to be better. Good news is, listen, you're in the race here. So, I've kind of talked about, like, I use the Adam Frazier example. He wasn't very good in 22, but, positive thoughts about him because of some of the big hits he had for this team in the postseason and everything like that. So you do have a chance to still salvage what's been a very almost lost season for Julio with one more kind of hot stretch a little bit to get this team going. But yeah, I'm just atrocious offense. I thought Spring's changeup was really good. He's got a good one for sure. It's just so hard with this Mariners offense, though, because they don't hit anything. So it's hard to know when you're getting great pitching or it's just this offense stinks. And it's always a little bit of both, right? Like Spring's changeup looked really good. The Mariners also need to find a way to lay off the ones that aren't in the strike zone and punish the fastballs that are in the zone. And this team's had a problem with changeups all season. They just cannot hit them, or at least to me. I haven't checked the numbers on that. Truthfully, I think you could say the Mariners have struggled against any pitch, and I think the data will probably back you up on that, to be honest. So my gut is that they have not performed very well against it. But even last night with Pepio, they were struggling against it. Luckily, Rosarina got the fastball. They got a couple bloops that went in there, and they're able to take advantage and win that baseball game. But tonight, unfortunately, got the bloops. But again, couldn't really get the big. Actually, they didn't really get the bloops either. And the bullpen too, right? You're missing a healthy Jimmy Garcia. You're seeing it rearing its ugly head of not having Matt Brash and not having Gregory Santos. JT Chargois has been really good this year for the Mariners, but he gives up the two-run home run to Jose Siri. Kept throwing that slider right on the corner there. It wasn't a terrible pitch, but 0-2, that thing cannot be in the strike zone. Siri strikes out. He chases 37% strikeout rate. You need to get that pitch out of the zone. Now, I have no clue how he hit that to dead center field, but you've still got to get that pitch outside. That pitch cannot be in the strike zone. Colin Snyder's had a rough last couple outings. Gives up the home run to Yandy Diaz, which was the difference maker. We might still be playing some baseball if he gets it out. He's got to get it dialed in. Snyder's been great. It's going to happen, right? You can't be perfect every time out. And the offense is the main culprit. But the bullpen's still off its game a little bit too, and it's missing a lot of its depth. Like I said, Garcia being out is brutal. And I hate to keep harping on it because they've been out, pretty much all year in Santos's case and all year in Brash's case, but they are missing those guys. You certainly don't expect to win a game 1-0 on a stolen base, catcher throwing the ball away and scoring. But maybe if you've got those guys, maybe you do close it down. And even tonight, Chargois had 2 outs in the 7th inning, gave up a hit in the home run. Maybe you do. You're 3 outs away from getting it to Munoz, and maybe you find a way to win this one tonight, even with that. So offense is certainly the main culprit, but the bullpen, deserves a little bit of the blame, as well. As again, multiple things can be true, right? Just like I talked about the blame overall, right? Like Scott absolutely should have been gone. It was the right move, but it's not going to fix everything overnight. These guys just aren't going to magically start hitting better. You hope maybe the approach approves. And again, that Dan can push the right buttons to get them in the optimal situations, but Dan can't, pick up a guy and drag him to home plate to score a run. The guys have got to do that. And they certainly, we know they're not a good offense. I do think they have the players to be better, but we're at 29 games left now? 29? Is it? Geez, holy cow. I can't believe we're at 29 games left. I mean, you are what you are at this point in the season. You just, again, I'm repeating myself, but you hope there's one more hot streak. Let's get in the box score. I'm going to get out of here. I've had a long night, so I'm going to call it a little bit earlier here. Logan Gilbert was fantastic. I mean, I guess the only negative would be you'd like to see the pitch count a little lower to go 7 there, especially with the bullpen the way it is. But listen, Mariners pitchers tonight, walk 0. They strike out 14. They did, enough. Logan was fantastic. Obviously, Chargois gives up the home run to Siri. Snyder not at his best. Troy Taylor pitches the 9th inning. Good to see him get more of a high leverage spot. Kind of a good thing. We've seen Dan kind of lean on him more a little bit. He used him in a little bit of a closer game last Friday. Good to see him go to Taylor here in a 1-run game. Again, you need guys to step up. Maybe Taylor can be a high leverage arm. You could use one more. And if Taylor can be that guy, it looks like he's got the stuff. Let's see. Let's see if he can pitch in some more leverage situations. So good to see Dan go to him in that spot. And he rewarded them with a shutout inning. I mean, the offense, 17 strikeouts. And like Goldie said, right? Like when they had 15 strikeouts, and that's atrocious. but 2 hits. It's like, it's not just the strike, just as it's not one player, just as it's not one manager, just as it's not one unit. It's not just the strikeouts. You can mix in strikeouts and perform. The league record for strikeouts is last year's Minnesota Twins. They were 5th in baseball in WRC plus. They were still a pretty decent offense. It's not a great recipe for it, right? You prefer to put the ball in play, more things can happen, but it's not just them striking out. It's them striking out, them not hitting the ball. It's everything, right? I'm not making excuse for the strikeouts. They're awful, but it's everything with this offense right now. They're not mixing it in with the bloops and the blast, essentially, right now. So, very, very frustrating. Like I said, I can't even sit here and go, well, they hit a few balls hard. They found gloves. Didn't even have that. The best I can say is I thought the strike 3 call on a Rosarina in the 8th was a bad call. Thought it was outside. But again, 0-2, you got to protect the plate a little bit. And he looked overmatched in the 0-1 pitch. So I don't know if Rosarina was necessarily going to do anything that at bat. The pitch to Demo in the 8th inning I thought was borderline. Now the Tracer did have it as a strike. It looked a little high to me. But, again, I mean, those are all little things, right? Like, could the umps could have been better every game. There was a pitch that Chargois got, a 2-2 to, I think, Taylor Walls, that was way inside that he was rung up on. So, it evens out in the end with that stuff. The good teams win, the bad teams don't, and the mediocre teams are 500. That's kind of what it is. Victor Robles, 2 for 4. Good to see him back in the lineup. Had the base hit in the bunt single. Julio 0 for 4. Cal, not a bad game, 1 for 3 with that single in the 8th inning. Allowed them to get the tying run to second. Also had a walk. So not a terrible game from Cal. Rosarina was 1 for 4 with the bloop single. Polanco, tough day, 0 for 4. Turner 0 for 3, did work a walk. Haniger 1 for 4. Mitch does have the clutch base hit, keeps the game alive. Dylan Moore 0 for 2 with the walk. Rayleigh 0 for 1. Again, I thought that pitch from who was the closer tonight for the Rays? Rodriguez. Man, that one, I thought that first pitch is one he should have taken a cut at. 96, I thought it was kind of right in Luke's wheelhouse. And then that one he fouled off or fouled down the line, if that was just on the corner of the strike zone, because it was well inside, I think that might have been gone. I think it was there. I think the win was there for the Mariners. But once he turned on that one, you kind of knew. Then he got the breaking ball away, swung and missed. I thought Dan actually managed the 9th correctly there. Obviously let Polo have the at-bat. I think you could have pinch hit Rayleigh for Turner. But, Turner's a veteran. You hope he finds a way on base. Haniger's been clutch in those spots. And then you have Rayleigh pinch hit for Dylan Moore. Because if you go Rayleigh for Turner when he walks or something, then you've got to have Dylan Moore bat, or you have to have Rojas bat. So I actually thought Dan pushed the right buttons there. Sometimes, obviously he didn't push the right button. They didn't win. But I didn't think Dan managed that incorrectly. And again, the players got to play. And even if Dan does make mistakes, this is his first go around, right? Like, the thing with Scott, too, Scott was here 9 years. There's going to be more criticism. Dan's been here 5 games. He gets some time to learn how to do this, but I didn't think he did anything incorrectly there. And then Rivas was 0 for 2 with a walk. You got it, Logan. I mean, we can just keep this simple. 6 shutout innings from your starting pitcher. I can't even count the games that I've talked about where they've done that and they haven't won. Had they lost this game 9-8, it would be frustrating. It's like, wow, they scored 8 runs and lost, but you just can't keep with this because eventually the starting pitching isn't going to do this. Like Logan, his last couple times out, wasn't as good. Bounces back, has a great night tonight. I know the Rays offense isn't good, but he did what he needed to do, and you blow it, and you can't get him enough runs, and the bullpen can't back him up behind it. It's frustrating. It's just, because eventually these guys are going to give up a run or two, and what's going to happen? And again, I just feel like this team's setting some sort of record for strikeouts, obviously, and then shutout starts from their starter that the team has lost. We know if this team misses the playoffs, why. I mean, it's not going to be any secrets as to why this team didn't get in. We'll see. Win tomorrow, win a series. Still making a good homestand. 4-2 is fine. Hopefully the Phillies can sweep the Astros. It's certainly not the end of the world, but you are running out of time here. And when Houston loses, you've got to take advantage of it. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the post-game recap. I think, tomorrow's Wednesday. Never mind. Thursday, channel members, I'll have my number 8 movie up for my top 10 baseball movies. I think me and Mariner Sir will have a show as well. We'll break down the homestand and the first homestand for Dan Wilson. Till then, hit that like button, comment your thoughts, and hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care, and as always, Go Mariners. Peace.